It's time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
Well, my friends, what a wonderful day we have here in northeastern Pennsylvania. Why? Because I'm at the new cancer center here at Lehigh Valley Hospital. This is absolutely spectacular for not only greater Hazleton area, but northeastern Pennsylvania. A lot of great information. It's so nice to know that we're right in our backyard. We have such technology and healthcare that's second to none. I've been telling you this for years. We have a lot of interesting people we're going to talk to. You want to pay close attention to what this place has to offer. It's unbelievable. Terry Purcell, no stranger to the show. He's the president of the Northwest region, and Tammy Torres, who is the president here. I'm excited.
We're excited as well.
I'm excited,
Very
Terry
excited.
and Tammy. It's just, you know, I was talking to Suresh, Dr. Nair, and he'll be explaining, but this is just unbelievable. Okay, Terry, let me ask you something. Why building the center here?
Well, first of all, we want to have it on the campus close to the rest of the hospital, but the area has such a high cancer rate, and patients had to travel an hour to get their radiation therapy. So we decided to expand the infusion center that we have. We went from 8 bays to 14 bays, and now we offer a new technology called radiation oncology, and the patients and their caregivers will not have to travel an hour for those services. That's really the game changer for cancer care in our entire region. And when I'm out in the community, and when I'm in Lehigh, and when I'm in Purcell, when I'm in Hazleton, so many patients have stopped me to thank Lehigh Valley for offering this technology, because they said it was such a hassle having to drive to Cedar Crest, and now we're going to have that care available locally. So the patients and their families are just so excited that we have this service.
Tammy, being the new president, I'm sure you're excited.
Oh my God, I am overjoyed for today, for this community, to have this so close to their homes. Because we know when you get that cancer diagnosis, when someone tells you that, is, you know, for you or your family, it's like your heart just goes to, you know, leaves you. And so to really be able to offer it here for our community to know we have such high quality doctors, and then everything that it has to offer when you get in this building, and it's right on campus, so they're familiar with getting here. Because sometimes it's the fear of travel and navigating, another stressor that you add into, you know, a diagnosis of cancer. So
I think you hit the nail right on the head. When you're told that, you know, there's no question, it really takes a lot out of you. Now what happens is, you know, it's like I got the bad news and I got the good news. Okay, you certainly don't want to hear the bad news. But when you hear the good news and you see what is available to you, then you don't have that stress of driving on top of it. You know, I can imagine what goes through a person's mind. You know, driving down there, so you're in the backyard. Do you feel the same way?
I feel the same way. So, you know, and it's up close and personal for me because my mother suffered, you know, and also had cancer. So I'm a native New Yorker, as many of you know, but I lived in the borough of Brooklyn. So in order to get the services that I needed from my mom, I had to go into Manhattan. Yeah. And so just that commute of getting there, you know, the stress of all that, then trying to find parking. And so then when you're leaving after your mother has had chemotherapy and how weak they feel and just don't feel, and then that commute back. So to have this so close, center to our Hazleton community, that they can be here within 5-10 minutes and then be treated, released, and go home to the comfort of without that long drive is phenomenal. And not to say, I mean, the experts that we have here that have trained at those institutions that are renowned. Yeah. My God.
So that's what I was going to ask you. So you come from New York, okay? How do you compare what we have here? And when say in New York, well, they must have, you know, the greatest things in New York. How do you compare that?
It's the same. It's the same. It's all about the connection that you make with your doctors and the confidence that you have with them, and that is the home run here.
That's the exciting part about it. Is the fact it's the same. There's no. I'm telling people for years, we have such great health care with Lehigh Valley. I mean, the Lehigh Valley is just, the network has just raised the bar. I mean, every time I do a show, it's like, wow, this is another interesting thing. What will this facility, how is it laid out, and what will be offered here?
So the top floor, the third floor, is our infusion area. We have, as I said, 14 bays, so we expanded from 8 to 14. Then the second floor, we don't have completed yet. We have that for future growth because we know we're so successful that we're going to need more space down the road. So we designed it that we could grow into the future. And then our ground floor will have our radiation therapy and our CAT scan unit.
Okay, so now there's a phone number on the screen, folks, to get in touch with them if you need to. So that's where you get more information. I'm excited to talk to Dr. Evans and Dr. Nair, and I understand we have another person joining us, just to bring the good news that's happening, okay? We certainly don't want to hear those words, you know, you have cancer, okay, and that just tears anybody apart. But to know that you have, and Dr. Nair was telling me about some great things, and I'm excited to hear about them. Congratulations to the both of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for your
Appreciate
input and what you're doing here. I mean, it's just, this is an opportunity for people to really see the inside of what's happening with Lehigh Valley, you know. Are you excited about being here?
Absolutely.
You told me-
Almost 3 months, and I
Yeah.
have not changed my
But
opinion.
here's the good thing. She said the best thing that ever happened to her was being on the Sam Lesante show. Now, I'm not one to start, you know, rumors and stuff like that, you know. But we wish you the best.
Thank you
Okay,
so
we'll take a
much.
break. We'll be back right after this. I'm so excited today. We're taping here at the new Cancer Center at Lehigh Valley Hospital in Hazleton, serving all of northeastern Pennsylvania. We just heard from Terry and Tammy about the great things that are happening here. It's just, you know, it's that one word you don't want to hear is you got cancer, okay? But today I said we got bad news and good news. That's the bad news. The good news is what you're going to hear and what they have available here at this beautiful cancer center. They invested a lot of resources to bring you the best in health. Joining me now is Dr. Suresh Nair. He was on the show a while ago. He's the physician-in-chief of Lehigh Valley Topper Cancer Institute, and no stranger to anyone here in northeastern Pennsylvania, my good friend Dr. Michael Evans, who is here at the Lehigh Valley Topper Cancer Institute. You know, Dr. Nair, you must be really thrilled and excited about this center going up, huh?
Yeah, Sam, thank you for being here for the ribbon cutting. Yeah, we're just so excited because we know what this will mean for the entire community of northeastern PA. And in Hazleton, as you know, we have an older population, and cancer disproportionately affects people over age 50. 90% of all cancer happens after 50, and actually 36% after age 75. And to access the best care, which is the Sloan Kettering standards of care, which we have at Topper Cancer Institute, to be able to bring it home to where patients live, that makes all the difference.
Are there any studies as to why this area is so high in cancer?
Yeah, you could say that almost for all of Pennsylvania, especially rural parts of Pennsylvania, and it has to do with demographics. Cancer is partly due to our immune system slowing down as we get older, and that's why only 10% of cancer happens below age 50, and it's increasing with age. And as you know, in our communities, we have communities that love living here and stay here their whole life. And so when we have most of our communities in central and northeastern Pennsylvania have generations of families living here, so I think age is the biggest. The other, it could be environmental issues. It could also be obesity has been linked to cancer. So it's a lot of different factors.
Yeah. Is there such a thing of what people could do to prevent certain things happening in their lives?
We're really finding a Mediterranean type diet and moving, just exercise and moving. Those are, and stopping smoking, having fruits and vegetables and nuts in our diet. Those are all things that help us prevent cancer.
For the likes of me, doctor, I can't understand, and I'm not here to criticize anyone, but when I see people smoking, I feel sad. I feel, it's a terrible addiction, and it's not easy. My mother-in-law went through trying to quit so many times, and, it was a task, but, it's all these factors that it's
very difficult. My late father-in-law died of lung cancer, and and it was a strong addiction. But I think what's nice at the Cancer Institute here is that there's going to be a lot of services to help the community. We're as much about preventing cancer
Yes.
as well as catching cancer early and getting the highest survival. You know, Sloan Kettering is some of the highest cancer survival. Now we're seeing at Topper, we're getting, you know, we launched in 2016 with Sloan. They picked us as one of 3 cancer centers in the country to partner with. And now our survival is increasing. And Hazleton patients are part of that revolution.
So how does that work with Sloan Kettering and Lehigh Valley? How does that work?
So in 2016, Sloan Kettering picked 3 hospital systems in the country to partner with on a very deep level, and it's called the Memorial Sloan Kettering Alliance. The idea is we treat patients where they live, but the 3 medical oncologists here and the 1 radiation oncologist, they're supported by 50 cancer specialists across the Topper Cancer Institute. And behind them, there's 2,000 Sloan Kettering oncologists that are specializing in all the latest treatments. And so in many cases, it takes 5 years for the latest advances to come to the community. We've now compressed it to 1 week. So we're changing things on a dime, and we'll be changing things on a dime right here. And what we've been able to show is that in stage 3 melanoma, which is patients who have spread to lymph nodes, 40% of patients died of stage 3 melanoma between 2014 to 17. That's our own results with 60 patients. Now our cure rate has gone from 60% to 91%, and we'll be publishing this, and the national 70%. So that's an extra 12 lives saved in our community, and that included Hazleton patients.
Wow, that's fantastic. The resources here, you'll be coming around and
Yes. I'm first of all, my partner, Mike Evans. Mike has been in this community for 9 years. He believed in the vision, came here from Hershey Medical Center. He's practiced right here in the community. He and Dr. Hotchner and Dr. Karp have been in the community, but now we're elevating everything because this beautiful facility allows patients to get wonderful care right here where they live.
It's fabulous. Well, Michael, you must be, we just said, what a change from, when you first started, looking at what we have now. Did you ever imagine this?
This is really a dream come true. It's everything I ever could have imagined for the Hazleton community. I mean, this you can see where we're sitting. I mean, this is just a beautiful state of the art building with more than enough space, room for growth, and room to add additional treatment capacity and different modalities of cancer treatment. So it really, I think Lehigh Valley Health Network and the Cancer Institute in particular really just knocked it out of the park in terms of bringing high quality care, the ability to provide high quality care to Hazleton.
When you say state of the art, okay, I understand. I'm not trying to, but to make it in simple terms, okay, what do you mean when we say the state of the art?
Well, I think it could mean a lot of things, but to me, talking about Memorial Sloan Kettering and how we relate to that, it's really all about scale, and it's all about volume. I mean, the reason Memorial Sloan Kettering is in New York is because it's such a big city with so many people, and that allows you to develop an expertise, and like Allentown. And at the Topper Cancer Institute in Allentown, we have a lot more expertise. Here in Hazleton, it's a smaller community, but because we're part of this bigger institute with the alliance with Sloan Kettering, we get to benefit from that state-of-the-art kind of approach that you can develop at a larger institution. So it's really a lot more than what you see here, what is physically housed in this building. It's really what we connect to, both in Allentown and in New York.
Throughout the years, as I've been doing these shows for Lehigh Valley, I've been talking about the quality of healthcare that we have and the doctors we have, whom I think second to none in terms of their ability and compassion. You've been here for a long time and have a wonderful reputation, I must say, and you've earned that, Mike, you really have. Telling them again, that we have the same amount of expertise here as to you have to run to Philadelphia. Nothing wrong with saying those particular hospitals, but the fact that we have that. How do you reassure those viewers and letting them know that we now especially we have this place?
Yeah, I think everybody with a new cancer diagnosis is it's very reasonable. Excuse me. It's very reasonable to have a lot of questions and to seek second opinions and to seek out the best care. What we are able to provide is, 95% of the time, patients can get all the care that they need right here in Hazleton. It's for us to help them understand when they need more, and it's our ability to link them up to that. Whether that's most often it's in Allentown, but sometimes it might require travel a little bit further for a clinical trial. But that's the exception, not the rule. The majority of patients will be able to get everything they need right here.
So, Dr. Evans, tell me about your team.
We have we have such an amazing team. We've had members of our team who have been here since we saw our first Lehigh Valley cancer patient back in 2014. So, starting back then, it was myself, Dr. Hotchner soon after. Pollyanna Fino has joined us a little bit more recently, but she's been here now for a number of years. And so, starting with those providers, we've got a good nucleus. We've had great support from Cindy Ruck and the rest of the local team, from present and past presidents of the hospital, just great people. Everybody who's there really cares about taking care of cancer patients. So we're very fortunate to have everybody.
How do you, as a doctor, okay, and you're made of flesh and blood, how do you get that message to that patient, and how do you make that patient feel comfortable with the good news? I mean, because you are a human being as well, and I'm sure, Suresh, you go home and you take things with you. I mean, and do you know that the severity of what they have, but you want to do it in, you want to give that particular news in not all at once, but how do you handle that, Mike?
Well, that's a great question. I think all of us as physicians, we all approach it a little bit differently. But I think in oncology and cancer treatment, I know Suresh is the same. I think you'll find a lot of optimists. So, when I see a patient with a new diagnosis, I'm always thinking of the best case scenario. And, so then in a very real way, explaining what the situation is, but always with the focus on how well things can go. And, worry if things don't go so well, we worry about that when that happens. But for the most part, just setting the stage with what we can do and sticking on the bright side. And for so many people with the advancements that are happening in oncology, there are more and more people who off the bat, the goal is cure. And if it's not cure, then we step back from there. But there still is a lot more optimism than there ever was, back when I was in medical school or even.
Oh, yeah, I can. Suresh, I guess when you're looking at, a patient and you have all the facilities and the expertise, there's different areas, you may feel this treatment is going, and all of a sudden you hit a bump in the road. So that's where the team comes in and saying, well, what would happen here? And you go back and look at this and then review it and then go maybe a different course. Is that?
Yeah, Sam. I've been an oncologist for 33 years, and I'm now chair of the Oncology Board for the United States. And one of the biggest advances that's happening is what's called precision oncology, which is finding out about the mutations in the cancer, and also finding out about the genes that we inherited from our both of our parents. And then we can personalize the care. That's almost, and right here in this cancer center, we're starting clinical trials where patients will have access to a trial called Strata Oncology. Where Strata, this is a Mass General University of Michigan study where they'll take the DNA, the RNA, and the protein. It's almost like the cold case, shows, and we'll get a report. Mike will get a report in 2 weeks that'll show the vulnerability of that cancer, and then we can personalize the treatment. And we're finding that instead of throwing a dart like we used to, we were forced to. We didn't want to throw a dart.
Yes.
Now we can personalize, and then part of the personalization is nurse navigation, social work, counseling, helping people overcome barriers to care. Bilingual nurse navigators that can help, in Spanish language, whatever our patients need and the community needs.
Terrific. Well, Michael, once again, congratulations.
Thank you so much, and thanks so much for having us on to help celebrate this event.
Yes. And now we're bringing someone on. Who are we bringing on?
Oh, yes. I'd like to introduce Anna Ignat. She's our new Senior Vice President of the Topper Cancer Institute.
Okay, we're going to take a break. We'll be back right after this. Well, my friends, I'm here with Brian Nestor, who is the President CEO of Lehigh Valley Health Network. First of all, Brian, congratulations.
Thank you, Sam. Appreciate it.
We're at the Cancer Center in Hazleton. When you were on the show before, about a year or two ago, we talked about the planning of this, okay? What was the reason for the...
Well, you know, cancer care is so complicated these days, but the advances are so great that there's an opportunity to integrate all of the different types of services, from chemotherapies, immune therapies, even cell transplant, okay, as well as radiation oncology, that we can actually bring them all together into one place, making life easier for people to not have to travel all over the place for, maybe I go over there to get my infusion and chemotherapy, but then I have to drive all the way to Allentown or to Wilkes-Barre to get my radiation oncology. We have now been able to bring all of those services and the providers all into one building where people live close to where they work and where they have support structure, which is the most important thing, their family. You know, because you can't go through cancer alone. Right. It takes a village. Yeah. And to be near family is priceless.
And when you're looking at the concept here, okay, you have many branches throughout northeastern central Pennsylvania. Why Hazleton?
You know, it's a great story, and I think you know this one with your longitudinal history here. You know, when we merged with Hazleton, the Greater Hazleton Healthcare Alliance, back in 2014, this region had more transfers down to our tertiary quaternary facility at Lehigh Valley Hospital, Cedar Crest, than any other market across eastern Pennsylvania. In fact, the prior year, in calendar year 2013, we had over 900 helicopter and ambulance transfers from this community down. That's the most from anywhere. You would think it would maybe be down closer to Philadelphia or Reading or Pottstown, but not, Hazleton. So we have a long history here of the community being comfortable with services in the Allentown area. So for us, you know, we were taking care of so many patients from this community anyway. Coming together and merging made a lot of sense. So this is just an extension of that relationship. You know, we've made tremendous investments at Hazleton General Hospital. We call it at Lehigh Valley Hospital Hazleton. All private rooms now, complete refresh inside, over doubled the size of the emergency department, and bringing integrated cancer services here is like Jimmy's on top of the cake for me.
You know, I do this show every month, as you know, and I keep telling people here how Lehigh, which I think is the best, okay? Not because you're sitting here, but I've been saying this for years, how you've raised the bar in healthcare. It's amazing to me to see the great doctors that you've been able to recruit, okay, and attribute to what you've done and everyone else. I mean, how do you do that?
Well, you know, in particular, there's a real story in cancer services. And frankly, recruitment, we always talk about in medicine as the Holy Grail. The real Holy Grail in healthcare is patient engagement. But if you're going to go to the Holy Grail of medicine, it's recruiting top-notch providers and doctors. And we did that about 6 years ago, and we took two docs, from Mike and Harvey from Hershey, practicing in that fabulous environment, and sold them on a vision for how we would care for cancer patients in a community that really was underserved. And would you be part of that mission? And would you help us grow? And we convinced them, and it just steamrolled from there. Fabulous doctors giving fabulous care with fabulous nurses and teammates and pharmacists and other people, really started the ball rolling. And then we built on top of that. We just announced that another hematologist oncologist that's joining the group. We have multiple nurse PAs and advanced practice clinicians here as well, and new radiation oncologists. So it is steamrolling at this point, and we're thrilled.
Dr. Nair mentioned about the Sloan Kettering affiliation. Yeah. How did that develop, and how wonderful that is for the entire network?
Yeah, well, we were approached, which is a compliment in and of itself, by Memorial Sloan Kettering back in roughly 2013, 2012, to see if we would be a member of what they were forming as the Cancer Alliance, the Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Alliance. And what they were doing was picking highly functional community health systems, of significant size that served a lot of cancer patients. You know, there's not a lot of room in Memorial Sloan Kettering if you've been there on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. I mean, it is tiny. They don't want more patients coming up there so they can provide therapy. What they want is really great partners that already are providing really good clinical care in cancer, and having them provide even better care with access to the treasure trove of clinical trials and the science that Memorial Sloan Kettering 2,000 providers are developing every single day, and then rapid fire test them, not testing like lab rats, but testing them through real clinical trials with organizations that have a lot of that cancer burden and making and saving lives. And that is exactly the way it's turned out. We developed it. We actually just renewed that relationship with Memorial Sloan Kettering. It was took 2 years in the making because they studied us pretty darn hard to make sure we were up to their standards, and we aligned our entire system in cancer care to marry theirs and match theirs, and it's been a fabulous relationship ever since. We have so many more clinical trials than most peers our size. We're about a $4 billion community health system, if you will, and we have probably double the average number of clinical trials of other organizations.
I could tell you that, you know, it's amazing, and it's I know I started the show off before saying we had bad news and good news. The bad news is when someone's told they have cancer, but the great news is look what we have to help you going through that journey.
Right. Yeah, Sam, in our lifetime, okay, we've all been touched by people with cancer.
Yes.
Have you ever had cancer?
No.
I hope not. Thank God. Okay. But in the rest of our lives, there's a renaissance in cancer right now. And we are sitting right at the tip of it with the world leader, Memorial Sloan Kettering. I am convinced that we will save extraordinary number of lives, probably our own one day. The older you get, your glands go bad,
I'm
stuff
not getting
happens.
older, though.
Okay, you're not. Well, that's one treatment. That's one way to do it. But you know, I have family members who have passed.
Yeah, my mother.
Half dozen that have passed of cancer diagnoses over the last 15, 20 years. And I would tell you, knowing their diseases, most of them would still be alive today because of the therapies that we have available to us. And by the way, we're moving into bone marrow transplant, which will allow us to get to stem cell research, will get us to all sorts of other types of therapies that you might otherwise have to drive to New York or Philadelphia to get. So we'll have that all available, and we can do it here.
Brian, keep the good work up.
Thank you, sir.
You're doing an outstanding job, seriously.
We're trying.
Yeah, we're very, I've been telling you, my friends, Brian Nestor is the main man, just been doing wonderful work, just raises the bar all the time on good health care. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. Remember SSPTV.com, 24/7, all of our local neighborhood programs are there. And thank you so much for making the Sam Lesante Show the #1 talk show in northeastern Pennsylvania. Coming from the scientific poll, the Susquehanna Polling and Research. They were voted the #1 polling research company in the United States. So we appreciate that very much. I'm here at the new Cancer Center in Lehigh Valley, Hazleton. We're really excited, especially everyone who lives in Greater Hazleton, but also northeastern Pennsylvania. And we're back with Dr. Nair, Suresh Nair, who is the physician-in-chief of Lehigh Valley Topper Cancer Institute. And joining us, Anna Ignat. Did I say that right? Okay. I'm getting there. Senior Vice President of the Topper Cancer Institute. We're going to get to you in a second, but I've wanted to ask you about radio oncology here.
Yeah, so Sam, what's exciting with this new building is that we have a brand new radiation oncology suite on the first floor, and we have the latest variant linear accelerator. It's a very sophisticated radiation treatment that can give very precise radiation right where you want to give it and spare toxicity, so that patients can have the same kind of treatment quality as we have at our main site at Cedar Crest and all the other sites. And this allows Dr. Steve Karp, who's been long-term in our Hazleton community radiation oncologist, to now give stereotactic body radiation. It's almost like surgery using radiation, very precise. Some other things like image-guided radiation. And Laura Stitch, our manager, has incorporated a lot of things that are very compassionate, patient-focused features, such as when they're getting their CAT scan to set up the radiation, there's a relaxing image on the ceiling that they can watch. We have a staff of 14 very caring radiation colleagues, along with about 22 staff, upstairs in the infusion. So everything's tailored around the patient, but the idea is to get the maximum benefit, minimum side effects.
Tammy showed to give us a brief tour, and boy, that's when we talk about state of the art. Hope you never need it, but my friends, if you do, you couldn't come to a better place. Well, Hannah, I understand you're new to the network. Well, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
It's a great network. It's one of the finest in the United States. Okay, tell me, what is your role?
My role is a Senior Vice President for the Lehigh Valley Topper Cancer Institute. I had the opportunity to join Dr. Nair in his vision to grow the program and state-of-the-art quality of care and that he and his team provide. So I'm here to help, and I'm really excited to be here this moment to open our new Hazleton Cancer Institute.
Well, first of all, it's very hard to say no to this
yes,
guy.
very hard.
He's just a wonderful person. So what do you bring to the network? I mean, what do you bring to Lehigh Valley?
I bring a wealth of administrative background in hospitals. I've been in the New York Presbyterian system in New York for about 20 years now, between Columbia and Cornell. Briefly touched with Einstein Montefiore system as well. So wanted to, I interviewed here, and after speaking to Dr. Nair, the whole thing is history.
Well, the interesting thing is, I asked Tammy the same question, is that it's so great to have such high profile people like you coming on, like Tammy, and it just it's rewarding, don't you feel the same? I mean, you had to look at this organization and say, look, this is where I want to work and this is where I want to be, correct?
Yes, correct. And the enthusiasm and the quality of care that you see here is really impressive.
Yes.
And that's exactly why I joined Dr. Nair.
Well, we certainly welcome you. Yes, we say
So
something.
Sam, Ann is very humble. So we did a national search for the most capable administrator to really take our program to new heights. And as the senior VP, and Anna made Columbia University program almost triple in size in the 5-6 years that she was there. And one of the exciting things we're launching at Topper Cancer Institute is stem cell transplants, both autologous and allogeneic, and also something called CAR-T, which is engineered T cells. So for me, I was able to recruit the medical director, Dr. Amir Tor, from Massey Cancer Center in Richmond, but I needed the administrative. It takes a lot to launch. We're going to be the only transplant program in the Lehigh Valley and greater Lehigh Valley region, extending up this way. And blood cancers are the number 5 most cancers seen at Hazleton. So Anna's expertise in helping us launch this program, and we've had amazing philanthropy both from the Toppers, the Halls, but to put all this in, we needed administrative talent.
Oh.
And so we're launching October, November with the first transplants.
Oh, wish you the best. So you see all the good stuff. You held all that good stuff from me, okay? Well, I wish you the best. Okay?
Thank you.
You couldn't be with finer people.
Thank you.
Always
Pleasure
nice
to
see you.
be here.
Thank you so much.
Nice to see
Thank you.
My friends, the new Cancer Center, Lehigh Valley, hope you never need it, but if you do, this is the best place you could go. We'll see you next time.